Stop for a moment and really think about this. Out of every living creature that exists across this vast and mysterious universe, every species, every soul, why this one? Why a dog? Why a being wrapped in fur, with wide, trusting eyes, and a tail that seems to wag from somewhere deep inside its chest? Why a heart that, against all logic, chooses to beat for you and only you? This isn't just a sentimental question you dismiss with a smile. It carries genuine spiritual weight. It demands an answer. Across centuries and cultures, countless people have come to believe that dogs are far more than companions who share your couch and finish your leftovers. Many believe they are sacred beings sent deliberately, purposefully, as guardians, as healers, as quiet and faithful teachers of something that looks an awful lot like divine love. Have you ever locked eyes with your dog and felt something shift inside you? That gaze, soft, steady, and impossibly knowing, has reached into the hearts of battle-worn warriors returning from war, of parents drowning in grief, of children who had no one else to turn to. That gaze has crossed centuries and continents, offering comfort that no human words have ever quite managed to replicate. There is something in it that goes beyond instinct, beyond biology, beyond anything science has fully explained. Dogs are not accidents of creation. They are not random evolutionary outcomes placed beside us by chance. They are purposeful beings, with a spiritual mission quietly woven into the very fiber of who they are. Look back through the great civilizations of human history, and you will find the dog standing there not at the edges, but at the center of something sacred. In ancient Egypt, the god Anubis, depicted with the head of a jackal, was the divine guide of souls making their passage into the afterlife, and loyal canines walked beside him. In Native American traditions, dogs were revered as protectors and spirit guides, beings who could move fluidly between the human world and the unseen realm beyond it. In Celtic mythology, the dog embodied courage, healing, and steadfast companionship, not just in life, but in death as well. Even in the modern world, this symbolism endures. Across many cultures, dogs are still regarded as guardians of thresholds, protectors of the home, the family, and the invisible borders of the soul. They are not merely flesh and bone. They carry energy. They carry purpose. They carry meaning that stretches far beyond what our eyes can see. Here is something that has stopped people cold for generations. Spell the word dog backward. God. Some call it coincidence. Others call it a signature, a quiet, unmistakable mark left by something greater. Because when you truly study the nature of a dog, it is almost impossible not to notice the reflection. Dogs embody the very qualities that nearly every spiritual tradition attributes to the divine: unconditional love, unshakable loyalty, radical forgiveness, and a faithfulness that simply does not quit. When we fail them, they forgive us. When we walk out the door, they wait. When we come back, whether it has been 5 minutes or 5 hours, they welcome us as though our return is the greatest event in the history of the world. There is no resentment. There is no score being kept. There is no moment where they decide we no longer deserve their love. That is not ordinary love. That is something else entirely. That is divine love showing up on 4 paws, asking for nothing but the chance to be near you. Dogs are healers, and that is not metaphor. That is documented, measurable reality. Research has shown that the simple act of petting your dog causes cortisol levels to drop, stress to ease, and oxytocin, the hormone of bonding, of connection, of love to rise in the human body. Science has confirmed what dog owners have always felt in their bones. But science, as remarkable as it is, only tells half the story. Because there is something that happens in the spiritual dimension that no laboratory has fully captured. When you are grieving, when you are shattered, when you are so lost that you can barely find your own name, your dog does not offer advice. They do not hand you a list of solutions. They do not grow impatient with your pain. They simply come and sit beside you, quiet, solid, present. And somehow, in that silence, something in you begins to breathe again. This is why therapy dogs walk into hospital rooms and change the entire atmosphere. This is why they are brought to disaster sites to sit beside survivors who cannot speak. This is why they curl up beside elderly men and women in care facilities, and restore something those people had begun to believe was gone forever. Dogs do not simply enter spaces, they shift them. They become living vessels of peace, moving through the world and leaving it softer than they found it. Then there is the matter of loyalty, and here, dogs do not just impress us, they humble us. Consider Hachiko, the Japanese Akita who, every single day for 9 years following his owner's death, made his way to Shibuya Station and waited. Not once, not for a week, for 9 years, waited with a patience and a faith that most humans will never fully understand. Or consider the countless stories of dogs traveling hundreds of miles through unfamiliar terrain, crossing rivers, defying odds all to find their way back to the people they loved. Stories that leave you sitting quietly, wondering what kind of force is operating inside that animal. Loyalty like that cannot be trained. It cannot be conditioned into existence. It is embedded somewhere in their soul. And spiritually, it mirrors the kind of faithfulness that every major tradition has tried to describe: steadfast, patient, and completely unmoved by whether or not it is deserved. Correct a dog sharply, and within moments they are back at your side, tail in motion, ready to try again. No grudge carried forward, no resentment quietly building beneath the surface. Just forgiveness, immediate, total, and genuine. Imagine, for a moment, what the world would look like if human beings lived that way. Dogs also carry a gift we often overlook: the gift of now. A dog does not lie awake at night tormented by last Tuesday. A dog does not spend the afternoon anxious about next month. A dog exists entirely, completely, and joyfully in the present moment. And in doing so, they quietly teach us that this moment, right here, is where peace actually lives. Not in what we did wrong yesterday, not in what might go wrong tomorrow. Here, now, this. Have you ever watched your dog freeze and stare at an empty corner of the room? Or growl low and certain at a person who, to every human in the room, seemed perfectly pleasant? Many spiritual teachers and traditions take this seriously. In Tibetan Buddhism, dogs are regarded as protectors against unseen malevolent energies. In Christianity, they have long symbolized watchfulness and faithfulness. Across many traditions, dogs are understood to perceive what human senses cannot, to stand at the border between the seen and the unseen world, and to guard what stands on our side of it. They do not just protect our homes and our physical bodies. They guard something deeper, something that matters even more. For the person who is lonely, truly, achingly lonely, a dog is not just a comfort. A dog is proof. Proof that God has not left them without love. Proof that the universe has not forgotten their name. A dog gets you out of bed when nothing else could. A dog makes you smile when smiling feels like too much to ask. A dog reminds you, with every wag and every warm presence pressed against your leg, that your life holds meaning even when you have completely lost sight of it yourself. And there is more. Caring for a dog demands something of you. It asks for patience when you are exhausted. It requires discipline when you would rather give up. It calls you towards selflessness when every instinct is pulling you inward. These are not small things. These are the very virtues that spiritual traditions across the world have identified as essential for growth, for becoming the kind of soul you were meant to be. Here is a belief held by many spiritual practitioners, and it is worth sitting with. Dogs may choose us, not randomly, not by chance, but intentionally as part of a soul contract made before this life even began. The dog beside you right now, the one curled at your feet or pressing its nose against your hand, they may have chosen you. Chosen to walk beside you through the specific joys and losses that your particular life was going to hold. Chosen to guide you, to challenge you, to teach you, and to love you through all of it. That is not a small thought. And then comes the loss, because it always does. Losing a dog reaches into a place that is difficult to name. It is a grief that surprises people with its depth, a silence that fills the whole house, an absence that somehow takes up more space than the presence did. It is the kind of loss that reminds you, painfully and undeniably, that what you shared was real. But here is what many spiritual traditions hold on to in that grief. They never truly leave. The lessons stay. The love stays. The loyalty, that extraordinary, unreasonable, completely unearned loyalty, leaves its imprint on the soul permanently. And many believe that just as they waited for you in life, they wait for you still, patient as ever, faithful as ever, until the day you are reunited. So the question stands, why did God place a dog in your life? Maybe it was to protect you during a season when you were more vulnerable than you knew. Maybe it was to heal something in you that human hands could not reach. Maybe it was simply to hold up a mirror to show you, every single day, the kind of love that is possible. Selfless love, forgiving love, love that does not measure, does not withhold, and does not walk away. Whatever the specific reason, one truth sits at the center of it all, undeniable and clear. Dogs are not simply pets. They are blessings in the truest sense of the word. They are small, furry, warm-breathed angels placed on this earth with a very specific and very sacred purpose to walk beside us, not just through the ordinary miles of an ordinary life, but towards something far greater than we can yet see. If your dog has ever reached into your soul in a way that language simply cannot hold, share that story in the comments below. Those moments deserve to be told. And if this touched something in you today, make sure to subscribe to Paw Pulse for more stories that remind us just how extraordinary the bond between humans and dogs